Hello folks, this is Jan Montarsi with part 3 of a series using the Create template. Today the pattern we're going to be making, I'm going to show you two patterns. This is the pattern I'll be making today with the Create template. I will also show you this pattern. There's just one small difference between the two. I sell the Create templates. This is the Create template. If you would like to buy one, they come with two of these micro thin blades. Go to my Facebook page, Blendangles, all one word. Search for Blendangles on Facebook. Go to my photo albums. There's an album called Blendangles Store. You can see all the items I sell. You can message me with your order and give me your email address, and I will send you a PayPal invoice. Let me know what country or zip code you're in. This is the Create template. It's a template made with slotted lines that the blade slides through. You have two different angle marks, 120 degrees and a 45-90 degree angle. It also has a perpendicular line that goes across the slots. Anyway, this is, in the camera here, this is the cane sack we made yesterday in my video. And today I'm going to show you how to slice it up to get the patterns that I showed you. First, we're going to back this sheet. Now I've put together 5 slices of the cane, and you can see there's a right way and a wrong way to put the canes together. Each slice has a black edge and a colored edge. And if you put it together correctly, color edge to black edge, what should happen is, if you look at the yellow, all the yellow on this side is equal distance from the next one. There's 3 stripes in between each one. Same on this side. I don't know where this stripe came off of, but it doesn't quite match. That was my first slice. Anyway, I have 5 slices lined up here. And the first thing I'm going to do, and I've moved the camera closer so hopefully it's brighter for you and you can see better. I'm going to burnish my sheet. This is my burnisher. There are other kinds of burnishers that you can use. This is a cap off of a salt shaker from Red Robin. It's pretty much the same, slightly domed with rounded edges, and I'll use this one today. And I just use it under my fingers. It was free and cheap. And I'm just lightly burnishing this together. Okay, then I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and release this off of my plastic work surface. I get these work surfaces at Dollar Tree. You do get a sample in your pack if you buy the Blendangle triangles for making Skinner blends. But you get 2 great big ones in a pack for $1 at Dollar Tree. And I cut them up and use them. Oops. I cut them up and use them a lot in different sizes. They have a shiny side that the clay sticks to and a textured side that they don't. I usually work on the textured side. Anyway, here I have a thin sheet of clay. I'm using white today. Usually I use scrap, but I had this handy. This is rolled out on my 6th thinnest setting on my Atlas pasta machine. I'm going to lay my striped sheet on it, holding up the edge. I'm using a piece of patty paper, wax side down, to slowly release and burnish my sheet to my scrap clay below. I'm then going to give it a quick burnish. I'm going to trim away the excess clay. If I got that trimmed or not. I'm going to do it again. Trying to stay out of the camera view. Okay, there we go. Now, this is now about a number 2 on my pasta machine, which is, I like to work on a number 4 when I'm doing my template cuts. So I'm going to use a wax paper and put this through my pasta machine this way to stretch the stripes longer, just a little bit. And I will be putting this on one roller and the paper on the other roller, so that as it goes through, the paper pulls through with it. You don't want to attach the paper to it, or the clay will stretch and the paper won't. I'm going to first go through on a number 2. And the reason I'm using that paper, you can see how the end curl is, it keeps your clay clean if you have any gunky stuff. I learned that from Lisa Pelvelka the other day on a live cast she had. Now I'm going to go down to my number 4th setting and run that through again. And there we go. We have a nice sheet here, and I actually have 2. I had this one ready from before. The only thing I've done with this one is I've trimmed off a little bit on the edge already, just to have nice straight edges. Okay, now we are going to work on a tile. Just remember, we always cut on a tile with the Create template. You do your cuts on a tile, but you assemble on cardstock. And whenever I burnish, whether it's sheets together or a sheet to a tile, I always do it this way with the patty paper starting at one end. It really keeps the air bubbles out from underneath your clay. Now I want to make sure I have a nice straight edge here, which I pretty much do. I'm just going to trim a hair off of there, just that little bit, to straighten up my edge. Now, the first pattern we're going to do is this triangle pattern. And there's 2 ways to do the patterns. And actually, there's only one difference between these 2 patterns. Let me just pull this sheet off of here. We have the octagon pattern, and we have the triangle pattern. The only difference between these 2 patterns is which way I am cutting my sheet. If I use my template, this is my 120-degree angle. I'm going to be lining that up against my, looking at the mark, looking at it like it was the letter L. I'm going to line the bottom leg of the L across my straight edge. And I will make my cuts. So the difference between this pattern with the triangles and the pattern without the triangles, that's the octagon, the only difference would be the orientation of my stripes. If I cut this way with my template, when I assemble my pieces, I will get the octagon pattern. So I'm trying to see if I'm in the camera, and I am. If I orient this way, with my stripes going vertically away from me, I will get the diamond pattern. So let's get started. Get you in the camera here the best I can. Once again, there's my angle for marking. I'm putting the bottom leg of that letter L on the 120 30-degree angle side. along the bottom of my template. I'm also going side to side a little bit to make sure I get the most out of my clay. Not pressing very hard, but it's securing the template to the clay. I opened a new blade here today. Where is it? That's it. Okay. So, now, normally I do 1/2 inch cuts in videos. I'm not quite sure the pattern will come out that way. If I wanted to do this pattern with a 1/2 inch cut, I would probably have used thicker, wider stripes of clay in my cane. So now that my template's adhered to my clay's adhered to the tile, I'm going to use my blade and I'm going to cut on every line. This will give me a 1/4 inch pattern. 2 lines would be the 1/2 inch. Today we're doing 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to put my blade in and cut every line. This is a brand new template also, so it's a little tight. They do loosen up after a few uses. Watch my orientation video. And the closer you are to the ends of the slots, the tighter it is. You can see I'm getting farther away, so it's easier. I need to do that one again. I think I pulled up. Now, the reason these lines are so tight, the tighter your lines, the more precise your cuts. Cutting off the corners on the outside edge, which gives you a more precise pattern when you put your piece together. Releasing the template, go around from different corners and slowly release it so you don't pull up your clay. Now, so my template was oriented this way, and I made these cuts. I'm now going to turn it and use the other leg of the angle mark, which would be looking at a backwards L. And I'm going to put that on my line of clay. Did I do that right? No, I didn't do that right. Haha. This was my original. I need to keep my stripes going this way from me. I'm so used to doing it the other way. It's very easy. Always keep track of your original orientation. If you have to take a little piece of clay and put on your tile so you know which is where your starting point was, that's usually what I do, which I didn't. So anyway, my first cut was made this way. I'm now going to turn my template so my L is backwards and the bottom leg of the L will go across my straight cut line. And once again, I'm going to cut every slot for a 1/4 inch pattern. And I'm hoping this is not like watching paint dry. I moved my template. So, I'm going to get back in line here. I may have a row that is not usable, but the rest of them should be fine. Always smooth your template slightly to your clay and that won't happen. I'm glad I make mistakes so that everyone can see that they're not the only ones and how to fix them. And the light is glaring in my face. Hopefully it's not glaring in the camera. Release my template. Now I'm going to look for that middle. Oh, I think I did a pretty good job getting it back in line. So we should be all right. I won't have a wasted row. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to release this from our tile. And I'm using my workhorse blade. They're very stiff. I have 2 cut lines. Some lines cut this way, some lines cut this way. I'm going to go follow one of those patterns of line and release my clay sheet from the tile with my blade. And I like to stick this under there because it helps me get off and onto my paper. Now there'll be some scrap around the edge. I need to get some gray paper because I think it makes the camera look better. This corner is no good. The other corner is no good. So what I'm going to be doing, first we're going to take this apart. The best way to do this, my cut lines are this way. I'm just going to tip up and fold it back down. Once we get going here. Tip up. Tip up. These break easy. You don't want to distort. I'm trying to keep my strips in order, sort of. It's not that big of a deal. Now, had we cut this into the same size sheet, into the 1/2 inch pattern, I did that yesterday when I was playing around. And that one's the end. That's no good. Okay. So, this is the size pattern that we will have using this size slot cut, 1/4 inch. Had I done the same with the 1/2 inch cut, now this isn't put together in any particular pattern, but that's the 1/2 inch cut. And I just wanted to see, I got more surface area, because these were the same size, out of my smaller cuts and a more interesting pattern. So I think if you wanted to do something big with the 1/2 inch cuts, you want to have the slices on your cane thicker. Your stripes would be like double thick of what we're doing here today. And you could do that just by stacking 2 layers of your Skinner blend. Okay, so I have these broken away one way. Now, the other reason why I stalled is the lamps are hot and it warms up the clay. The clay is leached, but it gets soft very quick. So on the end here, I should have a little triangle or an odd piece. I need to go through and break up all these pieces, but I'm going to show you just going down the row with one. If you hold them and just bend on that line, you get a nice clean break. And I'm gently holding them, not distorting my pattern. And I'm trying to put them down in the same order, because even though these are multiple colors, as far as designing goes, I treat them as 3 different colors. We have the real green ones in the center, the bluish green ones towards the outer part, and the more rainbow looking ones at the very ends. So when we go to assemble, we'll be trying to grab one of each of those 3 different color schemes. You get the idea. And I don't think I really need to put a whole sheet together for the video. But I'm going to break up one more here. And we'll start to assemble. Now my clay is leached, so I'm getting very little to no distortion. That one's no good. All right, so I'm going to push this forward. No, I think I'm good. Maybe I'll come down a little bit. That might help you see better. Because I don't usually do videos with the 1/4 inch cuts because it's very hard to see. I'm going to try to keep my hands out of the way. I got a needle tool here. I also have this tool called a bud setter. It has 2 needles on it. These sometimes help me move around. So first thing I'm going to do is collect some pieces. There's a brighter rainbow, a blue-green, and a green-green. I'm just going to put these in little groups to start with. Groups of 3. It's a green-green and a more blue-green. See if you can see the color difference between those 3 pieces. I have the obvious bright one, but this one has more blues and this one has more greens. And that's how I'm separating them. Okay, so I have 4 sets. I'll go ahead and get one more set together. And I'll just do one more. Okay, now if you watch any of my other videos, especially my rhombus cube video, where I'm working with solid colors of clay, we're basically making rhombus cubes. I'm going to be putting, and when I put these together, I try to put them together in the same order. I got my blue-green and my green-green here. I'm touching the points and closing it. Oh, and it came off. That's where this little tool comes in handy sometimes. And then I'm going to put in my 3rd piece. Nice, even octagon. I'm going to go for a greener one. This seems tedious, but I find it very meditative. Those 2 together. And at this point, they do pull apart easy if you need to pull them apart. And sometimes they just go together very easy, perfectly. Other times you struggle. I'm going to go for a brighter one for that one. If you hear any kids screaming or dog barking, they aren't in my house. They're next door. We have a lady that watches 5 or 6 kids, ages 3 to probably 6. So it's a zoo every day, but it's fun. You can see my triangles popping out of my patterns. I'm going to put these other 2 together real quick. I want one that's more green. Now, as far as the colors I used here, if you do a little bit more designing with your rainbow sheet, you will get, you can, or do separate sheets of different colors with stripes. You will get different patterns or different color schemes, which may make your overall pattern look slightly different because of the 3D effect on your eyes. Okay, so I have 6 of these here now. And on this one, I put them together randomly. You could put them together like a real rhombus cube, keeping, I have 3 here. I have that rainbow all on the same side. But I really like the randomness of this pattern, so I'm going to do that today. I'm just, however they go together, they go together. Sometimes you got to stretch them a little bit when you're putting multiple pieces together. And there is, now you see here, there's 2 parts of a triangle. If I put that in there, I have a double arrow. You don't want that. Let me hold that up so you can see that. Right here, if I put that point of that triangle into there, it's a double arrow look. It's not the triangle pattern, so you have to turn it a quarter turn. And I'm going to go for my more rainbow colored one. See that? Now that popped up a triangle there. And we're going to put one right here. See, that's the wrong direction. See the straight lines? That's not correct. So we have, if you look at the center right here, you have like a 6-pointed spoke wheel, which is what this pattern putting together would do. If I put this the wrong way in, I get striped lines that way. You don't want that. You quickly learn to see the pattern. Now, if I would be putting another one here, I would be making my next triangle. But that's how you make that pattern. The only difference between that and this pattern is my original orientation of the sheet. I'm not going to go through and cut that. But just as a reminder, to get the triangle pattern, I cut with my angle lined up at the bottom of my rows of my stripes. And to get the hexagon pattern, I cut my diamonds, setting my template across the stripe, the same orientation as the stripe. I hope that makes sense to everybody. I'm going to go offline now and put this together. I will have pictures on my Facebook group, and I will have some pictures at the header of this video. My next video, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. If anyone has any requests, please message me on Facebook at my Blendangles page, or you can go to my personal page, Jan Edward Montarsi. Many of you know who I am and are my friends on Facebook. If you'd like to order the template, they are $23 plus shipping, which is $4.95 in the US and more in Canada and even more to Europe. And I want to thank everyone for the huge response I've gotten from all over the world. And that is it for today. Hope you all have a lovely day. The weather's nice. I know you're probably not inside claying right now, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is the 3rd video of a part of 3.